On the morning of June 14th, Arjun had a thriving business, a loyal team, and a bank balance that finally made him feel safe. By nightfall, he had none of it. It started with a single notification. Your bank account has been frozen pending investigation. Then came the calls, vendors pulling out, clients canceling, rumors spreading. A fraudulent supplier deal, one Arjun didn't even authorize, had brought his business under scrutiny. He tried calling his lawyer. No answer. His co-founder? Gone, deleted from every group, unreachable. By midnight, Arjun sat alone on the floor of his rented office, surrounded by unpaid bills and betrayal. Everything he'd built over 5 years vanished in one day. The next morning, he walked to his favorite tea stall, the one where his startup journey began. The owner looked at him with pity. Not words, just pity. Arjun tried applying for jobs. No one responded. The business community he once mentored? Silent, cold. One weekend, his landlord asked him to vacate. With barely 2,000 Indian rupees left in his account, Arjun moved into a shared hostel room with peeling paint and 3 strangers who didn't know or care who he used to be. He could have broken down, but he didn't. Instead, he opened his old notebook, the one he'd used back in college when he first dreamed of being an entrepreneur. On the last page, he wrote, "No one believes in me right now. That's okay. I believe in me enough for all of them." Arjun took up freelance gigs, copywriting, designing pitch decks, data entry. 500 Indian rupees here, 300 Indian rupees there. He saved every rupee, skipping meals, walking miles to avoid rickshaw fares. But every night, he studied. He watched YouTube videos on fintech systems. He read case studies on failed startups. He dissected what went wrong with his own company and with others. And then an idea struck. He realized that small businesses like his fail not because of bad ideas, but because of bad systems. No real-time tracking, no fraud alerts, no micro-audit tools. He scribbled a single word on a new page, Shield. It would be a basic SaaS tool for small Indian founders to track cash flow, detect unusual activity, and alert them in real time. He didn't have money for developers, so he offered free weekend tutoring to coding students in exchange for help. By month 5, the prototype of Shield was alive. Arjun started pitching Shield to the same small vendors who once worked with him. The first 5 said no. The 6th agreed to try for free. Within 2 weeks, they caught a major invoicing error and saved 14,000 Indian rupees. Word spread. Slowly, organically. More businesses came. Then a small trade association gave him 1.5 Indian rupees lakh as a grant to onboard 100 shops. He reinvested every rupee. He didn't rent an office. He worked from the corner of a cafe. Didn't hire a team. Just collaborated with college kids who believed in the product. By month 9, Shield had 3,000 active users. A Chennai-based angel investor offered him 30 Indian rupees lakhs for 10%. Arjun said no. He wanted to bootstrap till the product stood on its own legs, just like he had. Exactly 365 days after his world collapsed, Arjun stood backstage at a business summit. Ironically, the same event where, a year ago, he'd been denied entry as an attendee. Now he was the keynote speaker. The moment his name was announced, he took a slow breath, stepped onto the stage, and was met with thunderous applause, not for who he was a year ago, but for who he'd become. Shield, the tool he had once mapped out on a torn notebook page in a dingy hostel room, was now powering over 15,000 small businesses across India. Kirana stores, local manufacturers, freelancers, and early-stage founders all depended on Shield to prevent fraud, track expenses, and stay afloat in a brutal economy. His team, just 12 people, but they were fierce, loyal, and had joined him not for salaries or perks, but because they believed in the mission. Most of them had never worked at a startup before. Now, they were running one of India's fastest-growing bootstrap SaaS ventures. His bank account was healthy again, but more importantly, he'd earned something no one could steal, freeze, or betray: dignity. After his speech, which detailed his journey from rock bottom to rebuilding from scratch, a young founder came up to him backstage. She looked nervous but hopeful. "Sir," she asked, "how did you bounce back when no one believed in you?" When everyone left, Arjun didn't hesitate. He smiled, the kind of smile born from surviving storms, and replied, "Because I never stopped believing in me. And when the world closed its doors, I built my own." There was no bitterness in his voice, just peace. That's when it hit him. He didn't bounce back to prove anyone wrong. He bounced back to prove himself right. And in that moment, standing in a room full of investors, founders, and industry leaders, he didn't feel like a success story. He felt like a start story. Because this was just the beginning. Arjun didn't just recover from loss. He didn't just rebuild his startup. He rebuilt himself, stronger, smarter, wiser, and unstoppable. And the very people who once ignored his calls were now calling to ask for collaborations, investments, and advice. That night, as he walked home instead of taking a cab, just like the old days, he passed by the cafe where Shield had its first demo. He stopped, looked through the glass, and saw a young freelancer typing alone. He smiled, because he knew exactly what that silence felt like. And he knew someday, someone would clap for them too.